Thanks to our friends at U Stadium for supporting this podcast. Download U Stadium and talk to all kinds of sports fans, win great prizes, and take part in amazing events. You can also subscribe to the U Stadium YouTube page for exclusive shows like Time Out with U Stadium, The Sports Desk, Play Like a Jet, and many more. That's ustadium.com.
It's time to BS.
Did you know that Rob Van Dam's wife is a porn star?
I don't know that. How did I miss this? And what's her name?
A U Stadium podcast.
Wait, what? Did I Wait, what? Repeat that to me? Did you just ruin bacon, egg, and cheese?
No, I did not. I did not.
Repeat the sandwich you just said for me, please. Have you actually ever ate this?
Yes, I did. It's really good. Yes, I did. It's really good.
That's disgusting.
It's not. It's really good, actually.
It's time to BS.
Help! The beard is gone! And Zach is here. Granted, on like 4 hours of sleep.
Great job. Great job bringing me in. Glad to be on the show.
I couldn't help it, bro. You look exhausted.
Well, I am, like, you are right. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep. That is completely correct. But I am making it through. You know, it is the sacrifice I was willing to make to get down and enjoy a fun weekend of spring football.
The first person to ever be convicted of speeding was going 8 miles per hour in 1896 over in the United Kingdom.
Really? All right. Fun fact of the day.
Oh, there's more.
Please, share. I would love to hear these.
Studies have shown that, believe it or not, the moon can get moonquakes.
Can moonquakes?
Yeah, it's like earthquakes, but moonquakes.
Really?
Apparently the moon has tectonic plates.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Didn't know that.
About that?
Okay, then. That's, also didn't know. If you've gotten more and you want to do that, keep them coming.
In the year 2014, 2 people matched on Tinder in the continent of Antarctica.
What? That's good.
2 scientists apparently were swiping through Tinder and they matched each other. All it took was a simple helicopter ride to get there.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Cold hearts.
It was meant to be.
Oh my god. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 130. Jesus, 139? Wow. 139 of this. 139 of Time to BS. Zach Kyleman of the Belly Up Sports Gridiron Gallery is here with us, making his glorious return to the program. I have no beard. We're running on very little sleep. Both of us.
Me,
I got 5 hours, so I can't really say shit.
Good for you.
1 hour more than Zach. Accomplishment.
Makes me feel more tired.
Here's the bright side. I have coffee.
Great. I have more synthetic caffeine here.
Synthetic Mountain Dew.
I don't know. It's sugar free, even though people will be like, that's still bad for you. I'm like, whatever.
Who the hell cares? Who the hell cares at this point?
It's fine. I need to get through this with you in a good way.
There you go.
It's not a bad slight at all.
No, it's all good. In honor of Easter, how many saints can you name over the last 30 plus years?
Saints?
Yeah, New Orleans Saints.
Oh, how many New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, it's like I was listening to a radio broadcast, and these McKnuckleheads were talking about some great Saints names, like Deuce McAllister.
Yep.
Ricky Jackson.
Yeah, I think of Joe Horn. I think great names like that. I mean, Drew Brees obviously is the easy one.
Yeah.
You can put in there.
Darren Sproles.
Marquise Colston.
Oh, Long Island's own, by the way, believe it or not.
Yep. Jimmy Graham when he was in his prime.
That trade. Oh my God.
It wasn't the same for him.
It was the stupid system.
I mean, I think that's fair. They didn't throw it to him enough.
Watch him re-sign with Seattle for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, he stole a good chunk of money from Chicago.
Stole $10 million.
He was an all right. Look, he was an all right threat, but I ain't gonna say that it was money well spent.
No. Ooh, the Dome Patrol back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Oh, that linebacking core. I think they're the only one of two starting linebacking cores in NFL history to have 4 All-Pros. Right.
Well, you're talking, I would say, you want a connection to the USFL, like I'm talking Sam Mills right there.
Yes.
Not only a Hall of Fame NFL player, but one of the greatest to ever play in that league as well.
Is Ricky Jackson in the Hall of Fame, or does he belong in the Hall of Fame?
Could be me being tired.
I think he's in.
I'm pretty sure you are correct.
I think Ricky Jackson's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm saying gotta quickly refresh my memory here. Yes, he is.
Oh, there we go. What class? I think it was 2005? No, 2009.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Class of 2010. That's what I got.
Close enough.
No, he's a Hall of Famer. Again, I blame the tiredness. Just had to quickly refresh myself on that. Wouldn't say I would know the class off the top of my head. I'll be fair. Not gonna say I'm that that caught up on you.
Well, you're one of the better football minds that I know.
Well, I'll be honest with. I'll be honest with you. I've really been the USFL and like those leagues. They have taken over my psyche. Like I follow the NFL during the season and I try my best with the off season, but like because off season is also spring football. Yeah. Now it's like I'm like getting bits and nuggets. Luckily I've gotten some of the draft. Been trying to keep up with that best I can since that's right around the corner. Which Jesus Christ, didn't even realize until yesterday when I was trying to get home. It's like, oh crap, we're
draft time,
April, aren't we? Right.
We're
about at the end of April.
Which is great. I mean, oh man, free agency. The first wave of free agency was interesting. It was oh boy.
A lot of changes, I mean,
well-deserved changes.
Well, a lot of changes, plenty more high-profile trades this year. So,
much-needed changes for both of our teams.
Well, okay, yeah, it was time. Gonna be honest, they're gonna, like for the Bears, they're looking like right now they're just trying to get through this year and reset themselves because wouldn't call it tanking. I'd call it more
retooling,
evaluation.
Retooling/evaluation.
I'd say it's evaluation.
How Ryan Pace lasted this long is one of the great mysteries of my lifetime.
He's done just enough. Well, New Orleans, he did that, and then he had just enough good pickups in Chicago that got him some goodwill. The 2018 season was a pretty damn good year, and it was, people felt that they were a few steps away, and truth was that things just never progressed back in that direction.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on the Khalil Mack trade, because that confused me royally. I'm shocked the Bears didn't get more for him.
I mean, have you seen the injuries he's had over the last 2 years?
Yeah, that's the only downfall. If he wasn't injured all the time, I mean, you're arguing you're getting your first-round pick at least back for him.
Well, keep in mind too, if you're looking at the Bears roster last year, Khalil Mack's name alone brings value, and so does his past accomplishments as of course outside linebacker, defensive end. Thing is that again, you look last year, Robert Quinn sets the Bears single season sack record. He's not at that point. He's not the most valuable Bears defense. He's not the most valuable Bears pass rusher anymore. He's also getting into his early 30s. His contract is not favorable for the team's salary cap situation. Injury issues, I'll reiterate, he hasn't been able to consistently stay on the field in the last 2 seasons. So it was just time. I saw it as a business decision. I understood. I wish it wasn't that way, but with the Chicago's direction that they are going, they kind of needed to start shedding people to get their cap down.
He's going to a great situation in Los Angeles. He's going in a phenomenal situation with LA.
Yes. Los Angeles is a young team that just needs a few more steps to get in the right direction. They missed the playoffs because of a great game against the Raiders anyway.
Yeah, true.
Essentially sudden death in that. But I don't know. I felt that it sucks. You don't want to see a star player that helped at least kind of revitalize your spirits in the team go that way and had such an impact. But I get it. Quinn made his money's worth last year. They want to start drafting young. Yeah. And they want to start getting their young pass rushers involved too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they also had their other one, Gibson, that's on the outside. A solid season for him. So they're probably going to get him more involved. We'll see. It's a retool year. They got to get through part of the trade, part of the trade assets from Justin Fields this draft. So he's
got to bounce back. He has to bounce back at this point.
Well, he's already talking that he's got the edge. I like what he says. He's definitely curbed what he says, because he really started out. He actually irked me the wrong way last year in the preseason, where he went in post-game press conferences. I think it was the first game he was put in. He said, "Oh, the game is it's slow for me," and I was like, "That's not going to age well."
That's never the right thing to say. Yeah,
yeah, and it really ticked me off. I was like, "That's not going to age well. You're going to get slapped around." And sure enough,
he was.
Now credit the Bear. I mean, even with the Bears line being horrible, and with Ryan and with Matt Nagy trying to force him to be in the pocket when they don't have a line to do an in the pocket type of system like that. It just was a whole year of basically eating crow, going, I have some work to do. Because even with that offense, there were still some things. He's got the explosive potential, but he still has a few things to learn. Yeah. And I think that's going to be what's crucial this year. It's eval. You want to see what Fields can do with another season under his belt. You got, of course, you got some of your core receivers he was linking up with back this year too. So, yeah, we'll find out.
I haven't gotten your thoughts yet on the Russell Wilson trade.
Oh, I've been wanting to hear from you. Although I kind of saw some of your tweets, so I kind of yeah.
I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't see this coming. I thought something had to happen, especially after the last 2, maybe 3 years. This was coming. This was absolutely coming.
Something was going to
break.
It had to be the right package.
Whether it was going to be Pete getting fired, which knowing the way that this team operates, him being the vice president of football operations, he was not going anywhere unless he was forced out. Schneider, the same thing. Now, I have a little more leeway for John Schneider than I do with Pete. You know my thoughts on Pete.
Yep.
I'm very curious to see this season. I'm very fascinated because
I want to see what the draft's like.
I got to see what the draft is like. I got to see what wave 2 of free agency come June 1st is going to be like. They still got some cap space to work with. Not a lot, but they got some. They got close to $15-20 million in cap space to work with.
Yep.
And reports came out that I reported earlier today. Demonte KZ, the former Falcons safety, former Cowboys safety, he's in Seattle right now for a visit. He's had 12 interceptions in 2 or 3 years. Very good cover safety. Good player, very good nickel safety. But Which begs me the question. You know the 3-4. The Seahawks are going into a 3-4. Your former defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, is now one of the lead coaches on Seattle's defensive staff.
Correct.
They're shifting primarily into a 3-4 based defense. They got a couple of guys that can thrive on this defense. Darrell Taylor, in particular, is a natural 3-4 outside linebacker. That's what's got me confidence going.
There you go.
I bring in a very certain player involved that could potentially do well, given the right situation. A good friend of mine brought on this discussion with me.
Okay.
Do you move Jamal Adams to inside linebacker?
I see what you're doing. You're thinking like a Deon Buchanan type.
That's the first person that came to mind. I thought, okay, Deon Buchanan was not a great safety. He was a natural safety, but a better linebacker throughout his NFL career. You move, and they got two good strong safeties outside of Jamal Adams and Marquise Blair, who was phenomenal at Utah. He's a big 6'3" strong safety. He has the Cam Chancellor type frame to him, but smaller build than Cam was. And you got Ryan Neal, who's a natural corner, but a better cover safety. So I wrote this down, and I said, okay, if Jamal Adams is moved to inside linebacker, put him next to Jordan Brooks. Your starting four is going to be from outside to outside, Darrell Taylor, Jamal Adams, Jordan Brooks, and Cody Barton, who played great in Bobby Wagner's absence.
See, I wouldn't put Adams as like your outside edge rushing type, you know?
No, that's why I moved him inside.
Okay, well, you said your front four. That's why I'm like...
Yeah, the starting four linebackers, if they were to go, if the 3-4 was implemented in that situation.
Never mind. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd put him in, because I was about to say I'd put him inside. He doesn't really I have not seen him really ever been great for, at least for pass catching, for anything like that.
No.
Stone hands is what he's been called there. I don't know. I mean, most of the time he's really good, very much a really good ball attack, or at least attack to the point of where the ball carrier's at. It's not crazy. Again, Buchanan did a really good job being a hybrid type. He was drafted first round 2014 and was supposed to be a safety, but of course his size and more of his bulk allowed him to play that hybrid position. So,
yeah.
Adams could.
He could. He realistically could.
Could do it.
But there's a button there somewhere.
The only but is, like, do you want to do that? Yeah,
because Cody Barton's a natural inside linebacker. You look at his tape from Utah, he's a natural inside linebacker. And he's a good one at that.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the only reason I'm not fully sold. I think it could work. I think you got packages for it. Look, Jamal Adams you can use him the way that they were using Eddie Jackson at times.
Yeah.
Just have him as someone that can, easily run stuff because he's got the size like Jackson does. Although I think Adams has more size than Jackson. I think he's bulked up better, but
Eddie's faster.
That's how you do that. Mm-hmm.
Eddie's a lot faster.
He is faster.
But the first player that comes to mind is like, okay, a safety that plays like a linebacker type role, but is a natural safety outside of Cam Chancellor was Desean Goldson.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember him back with San Francisco, very similar system that they played in San Francisco. Very similar. Comes from the Fangio tree. Does Sean Desai. So, as before he got injured, Jamal, he was playing a lot better in coverage. A lot better, actually. I mean, I'm not going to jump the gun and say, "Oh, put Jamal Adams an inside linebacker. They're a great defense." Nah, no, too much overconfidence with me.
I don't know. I think you can see it experiment. At the very least, I'm very least doing keep what they were doing. You know, design blitz packages with them, move them around. You know, someone like that you can move up and have them kind of disguise at the line what you want to do. You know, throw off a QB.
They got a sneaky good defensive coaching staff, though. They got a sneaky good defensive staff.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Scott.
I mean, Carl Scott, you know, Desai alone, I thought he did a solid job last year in Chicago.
Yeah.
People were high on him. Honestly, he probably could still have the job if it wasn't for a regime change. So,
yeah.
And, of course, a format change because the Bears are going to 4-3 again, which that's what traditionally they have been. Good. Before they had switched over to 3-4. Anyway.
Good. That's good. Like, I feel like they're a better 4-3 team than they are 3-4. I mean, that's me personally.
I mean, I get the purpose of the 3-4. You know, you allow your two linebackers. It relies a lot on, you know, the athleticism of the outside guys, and if they can get to the QB if they want, if they're able to get into coverage easier. You know, 4-3, you are committing more to a standard lineman on those or standard lineman-esque archetype on those edges. Mm-hmm. You know, one that's not really designed for coverage. But then again, you know, you have three committed linebackers that you can do what you want with. You don't have to rely on, you know, having someone that can understand and can fully do those things in the flat or in, of course, the shallow, you know, in between the 10-yard marks. So I'm used to it too as a Bears fan. So
yeah, I mean, I would be too. I would be too. I mean, do they have the players that they can pull off the 4-3?
I mean, they can. I mean, you can force it if you will. So it's just all it is just you got to change it up. They're fine. I will say for Robert Quinn, it fits better. He's actually more of a 4-3 guy. That was one of his things that. After the Rams, I think the Rams it was when they were in St. Louis under Jeff Fisher. They switched to 3-4, and it was that I think that affected him as how his production went. So that's when he went to Miami. I just went out to Dallas. So I think he'll do fine. Obviously, they got young talent that they can pull from, and they're in retool.
What's your favorite move that the Bears made? In terms of the free agency period.
I mean, they didn't really make many. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, I don't really have anything to say on it because they just they picked up like a few 1-year contracts. I mean, they picked up O'Shaughnessy, like the former Jaguars tight end recently.
Oh God.
But I mean, that's not really. But the Bears have a ton of tight ends they can use. That doesn't really concern me there. Yeah, I mean, nothing really kind of sparks my interest. They didn't really do much, and I think they're trying to, like I said, a lot of their cap moves aren't until next year. They can't really do anything they can't do too much this season.
Yeah, you and I are in the same boat here.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why they traded Mack. Mack cleared up a ton of cap space for him next year, and again with the injury issues he had, like it was just inevitable they were going to move on from him. So
yeah,
get what you can this season. Don't wait until his value even goes farther down. You know,
yeah, how much cap space are you going to have next year? Like, it got to be in the hundreds.
Oh, it's definitely in the hundreds. I think it was like upwards like 128.
Same here. I think we have 124.
Yeah, hang on. I gotta get that tracker because the Bears, I think, are last I checked, they were number 2 for 2023.
Behind Seattle, I think. Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah. This is Spot Track. So, or Spot Track. So,
yeah, they're usually pretty good.
Yeah. So, yeah, Chicago's projected as number 1 overall cap for 2023, followed by Houston and Seattle. And of course, Indianapolis with Chris Ballard as ever sits at number 4.
Oh,
no, seriously, I don't understand the man's spending habits. He spends like nothing.
Quentin Nelson is going to take up like probably like most of it.
Oh, it's fine. Look, his philosophy when he came into Indianapolis was he wanted to he wanted to not pay free agents because he didn't want to. He felt like that it's homegrown talent. He took the Green Bay method: grow your stuff in house through the draft, through your own departments, and then pay those players what they are deserved and keep them here. That's fine. Only problem is that you have certain positions rotating, quarterback in particular. Granted, they have that lockdown in the short term again. This time for most likely 2 years, maybe 3. That they can rely on, but they still don't really pay for the elite talents, even though they have the money that they could use if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And at some point I'm going to have to keep asking. And I know Colts fans are, cause I live in Indianapolis, I'm a Chicago fan, but I got to follow the Colts by proxy. And that's what everyone asks is why don't we spend this cash? We have been, since Ballard has taken over, for the most part, they have been at the very least, the top 10 in cap space at the beginning of free agency period, almost every season. And they rarely spend money. And they're going to be there again, from what it looks like, number 4, unless things change. And I don't know what to say to that. So, of course, you got to pay people, but when you got the chances to take in some good guys that are on that market, you got to take those shots. They didn't do it again. It's the nature of the beast in Indianapolis, I guess.
Who do you think made the best moves? I mean, there weren't a lot of great moves. I mean, there was the Raiders, but
I mean, if you're talking free agency in terms of like trades and free agency, I thought Adams was a great move.
Chandler Jones. I mean,
Chandler Jones was another one. Like they stocked up, I mean, really, that was my favorite one. I think that I'm not going to say. Well, I'll tell you one Colts move they actually did that I'll give them credit for because I don't want to leave this episode with people going, well, they did make this one because they did get Stephon Gilmore. I'll give them that. They did ink him recently on a 2-year deal. I want to see what he does this year with a little healthier. I know he kind of went into Carolina from that trade. Bit of a question mark. So hope he's back up on his feet. Kind of can have like a Xavier Rhodes resurgence here after like a season or 2 off. I mean, like I said, I like that. Chandler Jones, I thought, like I said, excellent trade. I thought that was an excellent signing right there. A lot to be said about the Tyreek Hill one, of course, just because, I think that, or at least the trade for Hill, I was I knew it was going to be coming at some point.
It was coming, yeah, because Kansas City is in crunch in terms of cap, especially with the Mahomes contract about to kick in.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was going to happen. He got his cash. Thing is, can he perform? For Tua this year, he's shown more flashes. I give him credit, but this is another season where it's like, okay, excuses kind of are running out. You got everything now. Just stay healthy and play it slightly more consistent, and we'll see where we go with Miami. In terms of like actual guys that were on the free agent market, and just to get away from trades a bit, J.C. Jackson going to Los Angeles. Fan of that move. That division is just becoming hectic all over the place with just good talent and weapons. You're going to need someone like that to counter all those quarterbacks. Von Miller, I think I want to say I like it.
I don't.
I thought, the money is what makes me kind of go, I know age is just a number for some players. Like I understand, but man, 6 years, $120 million.
That was a little much.
Yeah, look, he did really well for the Rams. He did what he needed. He had production in the playoffs. Question is, can he keep that up for at least half that contract? I don't think they're going to make all the way through 6. It's going to be hard for them to get all the way up there unless he has found the fountain of youth or some sort of Tom Brady exercise program.
That's a good looking defense when you think about it.
Oh yeah, Buffalo.
It's Buffalo because they got to be the favorites in the AFC, right?
For next year?
I would assume so.
Well, if I'm talking the AFC,
because Buffalo and KC are definitely neck and neck.
I still I mean, yeah, I'd have to go with Buffalo, probably. I mean, Kansas City did. I mean, that's the thing. Kansas City did lose Hill there. They didn't. Matthews not coming back.
Yeah,
he's on the free agent market. He's going to probably get picked up here pretty soon. I saw that. Actually, just saw that he's he's doing an interview with the Eagles, I believe, this week. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I think Buffalo, you can make an argument. They definitely are. They definitely come off as the tops in the AFC, and they were close. Again, they all it took was one flip of a coin.
Rule.
Well, all it took was one flip of a coin. We might be talking a different story and maybe a different Super Bowl outcome too.
Yes.
Now, I will say overall, if you're talking for free agency, somehow, some way, Los Angeles, like Les Snead, I think's found like the formula or something. Just like, what do we need first round picks for? We'll just look for good, solid. Like again, they snagged up Allen Robinson, who Bears fans dogged last year for his performances. And you know what? I'll give him credit. Yeah, he wanted elite receiver money, and they didn't pay him. And then finally had an off year, so of course they weren't going to pay him. But I think the man deserved the cash in the first place.
Gosh, he did.
So he's going to get. I mean, 3 years, $46 million ain't too bad for a receiver, and for someone to go in that roster, and you got Cooper Kupp there.
The Robert Woods trade, though, I mean, I think that's going to be a bigger loss than what people think.
Well, maybe, but that's what Robinson's kind of supplementing them. Like he's taking the Woods role.
If you have a better route runner in Woods than you do Robinson. Robinson's got size.
I mean, yeah, I'm
not wrong in that, though, right? I mean,
I thought he was a decent route runner for Chicago. I didn't have a problem with that. I just think that sometimes the people dogged him for the elite stuff. Like when it came to hands, like every now and then, like he wouldn't come down with like a tough catch, or it would be a jump ball and he wouldn't always get it, type of thing. But the guy runs crisp routes. And he does, of course, the stuff like a Robert Woods. He can run the jet sweeps. He can do all the short and gritty work. It's fine. Just give him production. He can do it. My thing is the only thing I'm waiting on for them, and I don't know if they will now. I mean, Odell's just chilling there on the market. I know he wants to go back to LA on a reduced contract, but like the Rams, I think overall, they're still, to me, my favorites to go back to the Super Bowl again, at least in the NFC. Will they win this time? I don't know. I got Buffalo for that right now.
It all depends, right? It all depends on the draft, because we still got the draft to worry about.
Oh, sure. I mean, they also got Bobby Wagner, by the way. I know that 32, I understand.
That was coming. That I knew was coming. I thought people want to look at, he's a 6 times consecutive All-Pro. People want to look at the All-Pro stuff. I see his greatest strength was his speed, and his coverage skills diminished like quick. The second he signed his second contract, which was like $18.5 million per year for 3 years.
Yep.
His coverage skills and speed diminished like rapidly. And you can't ignore that. And that's like that was the biggest part of his game.
Oh, sure.
Like, sure, yeah, he's a 6-time All-Pro. Hall of Famer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that respectfully to Rams fans, like, what Bobby Wagner are you going to get? Realistically.
I don't know. You might get one that's rejuvenated and that is on a very talented roster.
Unbelievable.
Change up. Because that's kind of the only thing you can think. That's what Von Miller got when he left Denver. Same deal, 32, traded over. Basically said, I'm going to go run for another ring.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I look at it. That's the NFL's equivalent of a super team right now is what LA built.
Bring back Jeff Fisher, please.
No, he's on the Panthers, man. I want him in the USFL.
I don't blame you. I do too. He's a sneaky good coach if given the right, I don't know how he was a great coach with the Titans.
Well,
His philosophy back then worked, I know.
Well, right timing with Steve McNair coming in and Eddie George. They had good. I mean, he had great rosters for, at least upwards of 10-year period. All the way up until the mid 2000s, he was doing well with Tennessee.
Can I say it's
even
a crime?
Even with Vince McMahon, even with not Chris Collins,
Chris Johnson.
Well, Chris Johnson, yes, I'm talking different quarterback.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Kerry Collins.
Yes, even Kerry Collins. They went 13-3 that year with just him, and of course Chris Johnson. But nonetheless, guy had a solid run. Thing is, just that when he transitioned and went to St. Louis and to Los Angeles, things that were working back then, the NFL changed and it didn't progress. So here we are. Credit. He's saying he's going back to the USFL because he's saying, he's had time off. He wanted to get back in the space and, it's a little bit of a different challenge and journey.
True. I feel like that's going to happen with Pete.
You think he's going to go to a spring league?
No, I think Pete's going to be stubborn and not adjust to today's NFL schemes.
Well, you don't have your world-beating quarterback anymore that can do everything. And
why do I feel like that this team's either going to go are going to have 11 wins or 4?
Depends. Who are they drafting in their first-round pick?
Oh, boy.
Because I'm seeing a mix right now between Malik Willis.
No.
All right. No Malik Willis for you, eh?
No. I like his tape. I'm not saying I don't like his tape. I'm just saying, all right, the quarterback, if you're going to draft a quarterback, the QB class next year is going to be astronomically better.
Oh, it will.
If you want to draft a quarterback, wait till next year. That's all I'm saying. But
those intangibles, though.
He's a hybrid Russell. He's another Russell Wilson.
What's the problem with that?
Nothing. Okay, over the last couple months, I've honestly say good fucking riddance. I'm grateful for the 10 years. I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. But you say, I want to win Super Bowls. I want to win Super Bowls. Then explain this to me. Why the hell didn't you just strip your salary down by $10 million? Give us some more cap space instead of taking $35 million of it for your own ass.
The grand question.
Well,
that many take, and it. I will only say this to be a counterpoint. It is a person's livelihood. They want that is what comes first for them. It's a job. So there is that, but they are making millions. I get it. You've seen other teams. Tom Brady has been notorious for taking salary cuts.
That's my point. Exactly. That's my point. How many quarterbacks can you name that have won one or more Super Bowls with a $27 million or more cap hit?
Recently?
Very little. Very little, if at all.
Yeah, I'd have to go through the list, but you probably make a point. Credit. Let's also realize that salaries for quarterbacks have skyrocketed in just a 10-year period.
Oh my God, that's why the Packers are going to regret Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay's going to regret
it. Yeah, but they're desperate. They knew they messed up when they drafted Jordan Love.
No shit.
And I'm saying same deal. They knew they messed up. Everyone knew they messed up that night, and that's what they had to do to pivot, is to appease him. You have to give him a record deal. You have to show him that we are building something, and that you got to sweeten the pot a little. You got to make sure the guy gets calmed down. Now
you got to satisfy the diva.
You do, and then you also realize that the guy really was. That it feels like it was more of a money move. Just because your best receiver hops and skips town.
Yeah.
Well,
skip over to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Which honestly, I actually forgot that him and Derek Carr were teammates back at Fresno State.
I forgot that too. I did. I completely forgot about that.
So I don't know. I mean, Derek Carr's been needing another guy. Renfro did a great job last year, slowly becoming that number one target for them. But
they haven't had no more receiver since Amari Cooper got traded.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can blame Gruden for that. That's part of his legacy, trading away stars, not getting them to get signed on. And of course, said email issues, but that was even before his time there.
Yeah. Still.
Rough stuff.
I'm looking at the quarterback market. I mean, you mentioned how the quarterback salaries have skyrocketed. When are teams going to realize that, hey, maybe we don't have to win with a $50 million per year quarterback? I understand the salary cap is going to go up. I understand that. Thank you, Amazon. Completely get it. But
sounds like also thank you, Apple TV, because they're gonna. It also sounds like that deal for the new Sunday Ticket deal is going to be done soon.
Yeah.
So that's money coming in.
Yeah, it's a lot of money coming in, but I mean, I'm looking at the inevitable Kyler Murray contract. What's that going to be?
I mean, it can't be record-breaking because he hasn't done much to get the record-breaking deal. Like, his intangibles are great. He's obviously in his prime. He's going to probably keep hitting his stride. You can knock him for he still has health issues every now and then during the last 2 years. And then in terms of accomplishments, laid an egg last season in the wild card. And year prior, they basically fumbled to the line and let Chicago go into the playoffs.
Oh.
Which I still was amazed that Chicago even somehow was, by all hocus pocus, stumbled their way to a game against the Saints. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be. You're not going to get record-breaking guaranteed money like a Deshaun Watson.
No.
Which even Watson, I was like, wow, that's a
hefty price
for a guy that has all the wrong PR. They sure gave him that money pretty easily. So, and that's a whole conversation. But no, I don't even think you're going to get a guaranteed Aaron Rodgers one. I think you're going to get something a step below.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, he deserves that extension. That's fine, but this is the market. I mean, we have 3 receivers right now, tops in the league, that are all sitting out the early going of preseason workouts.
And Metcalf
they
is
want
next.
new deals. He might be.
What are your thoughts on that? Because the Jets I was getting screamed at by Jets Twitter, saying that, DK Metcalf would be the best addition to the Jets. And then they're like an indecisive girlfriend, hopping from one man to another. First, DK Metcalf, then Curtis, then Deebo Samuel. Now it's AJ Brown. It's like, shit.
Right.
Here's my argument. If the Seahawks were seriously considering about rebuilding, this trade would have happened already. This trade absolutely would have happened already. Like,
might have.
It might have.
But I mean, you can be one drafted quarterback away from getting right back on that high horse.
Jesus, you are sold on Malik Willis, are you?
I like the intangibles. I'm just saying he's going to be there. I'm not saying this is the best QB class, but they got, any mock draft I look at anymore, Kenny Pickett can go from being one of the top 10 to 32nd on the first round right now.
Yeah.
They got, Matt Corral, for crying out loud, who, had a massive injury during his bowl game, is even being put ahead in some regards to Willis and Pickett.
Crazy.
But that's just where we're at.
It's the desperation of a quarterback.
Quarterbacks drive these teams, man. They're the most important position in the NFL, in all of football.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you for that, but something just tells me it's like, okay, when are teams?
So let me be honest. Do you want a year where just Drew Lock kind of does his thing?
I want to see what he does. That's the thing. I'm annoyed because it's like, okay, you clearly saw something in this guy that you wanted to include him in the trade. You brought back Geno Smith for one more year. You got this third guy in Jacob Eason, who's a local kid, played at Washington. Good arm, good wheels. He's a relatively decent quarterback at Washington.
Yep.
You got 3 quarterbacks that you can work with, realistically speaking. Maybe a fourth if you decide to pull the trigger on Mayfield.
Well, who's going to do that, though?
No. I would not.
He's not going to be in Cleveland. They're more likely to cut him with how that situation has gone. You can't do that. You can't enter camps with him sitting there.
You just can't.
At the very least, he gets cut, and that would be just to bite the bullet.
Yep. You made a mistake by making a terrible PR decision. Granted, a desperation 3-pointer at Deshaun Watson. You made a terrible mistake. First of all, okay, I have said that the Browns should have taken him number 1 overall in 2017. He was a better prospect in my eyes than Myles Garrett. They should have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, Myles Garrett was the sexier prospect because who doesn't want an all-pro defensive pass rusher over before the legal issues? We were talking about Deshaun Watson as a top 3 quarterback in the entire league. We were talking about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the Browns clearly pulled a desperation Nick Castellanos drive to deep left field in the most awkward of time, and to go after a Deshaun Watson for 5 draft picks, 3 of them including first rounders. Something I would have not have done. But at this point, if you're Cleveland, did you really have a choice?
You could, and that's just to have not done anything.
Yeah, exactly. You could have just said, screw this. We made a mistake with Mayfield. Let's get one more shot.
Although Mayfield did request a trade before this ever went down.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the other thing is, well, you could have done nothing even with that, but I don't know. I think he's going to be gone now.
He's going to be gone anyway.
Back when he requested the trade, it probably was less likely, and I think they would have just wrote it out. Maybe done something mid-season, because I don't think it was going to get something like this. Isn't like in NBA terms. This isn't like a James Harden holding out type of thing.
Ugh.
Because like with Case Keenum, they could have operated just fine.
Yeah, they could have done a lot better. They could have done just fine with Case. Yeah,
because him and Kevin Stefanski obviously have a relationship. There's no problems with that. They know the system, so they could have soldered on.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, with Deshaun, it is what it is. I'm more amazed that Deshaun got the guaranteed record money that he did. I know he's in his prime. He's going to be shaking off rust. There's obviously still some lingering-esque legal issues in another county in Texas. I don't remember the whole details, so I'm not going to say that this is all correct. But I know that still is in the spotlight. Obviously, you're going to have plenty of PR to discuss, and I think they just want to capitalize on the youthful roster they have.
That's a run first team. Yeah, that was a run first team. Yeah,
it is. But I think they've seen, they watched Odell complain, leave, and go and do some great things with Matthew Stafford. They have Jarvis Landry, who is now officially free agent, and from what I understand, doesn't want to come back unless they convince him to come back. So you watch that talent walk out the door, and you're going to probably need to restock a little bit in your receiving core.
Yeah.
But at least you got Deshaun Watson, who can lob it up. And I think it's just an organization that saw the opportunities kind of wilt away, and a quarterback that was a little too hot, too cold at the wrong moment. Like, Mayfield very much is not a consistent QB. He does what he's needed. He has the flashy plays every now and then, but he's not. Everyone wants the dude that can throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns every game. Generally, Watson gets you that one way or another. He can carry a team on his own.
Yeah.
Showed that in Houston, honestly.
So, which begs the question, why should Seattle trade for Baker Mayfield?
Better than Drew Lock, I'll give you that.
Is he, though? Is what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say yeah.
If you're really... Okay. What would it cost to get him if he were inevitably traded or released?
Well,
let's go traded.
Well, if it's traded, the Browns are in a position that is not in their favor. Teams know that Mayfield does not, that they don't need to give away assets for someone that actively wants to leave a team. So several can sit there, let them possibly get cut, and then pick them up if they want. I don't know. I think you might get like a third rounder or something for him. I think that's reasonable. Maybe you do like a multi-pick. You do give him like a third and a fifth in exchange for maybe a 6th or 7th back and someone. But you're not going to do anything blockbuster. It's going to be like at very minimum, you're going to get a third rounder sent over to Cleveland, and they'll just use it at some point, whether it's this year's draft or next.
Yeah. I think we got to wait and see. Part of me says, all right, let's see what you got in Drew Lock first. Wait for the trade deadline to approach in late October. If Baker somehow, some way still on the Browns by the trade deadline, you pull the trigger. Because, I mean, I'm not confident in Drew Lock. I have part of me is like, okay, see what you got in him. If he can be the efficient quarterback that he was deemed supposed to be, because literally this is a run-first team. They got 4 running backs that can rush for 500 yards or more. 2 of them could definitely rush for 1,000 plus. They got the system to pull that off. You got 2 elite receivers in Lockett and Metcalf. You got the system. You got the offenses. You got a lot of tight ends that can give you, Noah Fant and Will Dissly in particular can give you 6 or 7 touchdowns. Colby Parkinson's a third guy that's a 6'8" mammoth of a man. You got a half-decent line.
Yep.
I mean, assuming they bring back Dwayne Brown and a drafted tackle, an offensive tackle with number 9, then I'm going to go with Charles Cross. Or Evan Neal, one of those two. Or Penning, the kid out of Northern Iowa. Then your offensive line is Dwayne Brown, Damian Lewis, Austin Blythe, Gabe Jackson, and whoever they take at 9. That's a half-decent line. Realistically, I don't think Geno's going to be the guy. I God hope not. Because I'm going to say, if they really saw 3 games of Geno Smith and said, yes, let's trade our Hall of Fame quarterback for Geno Smith, I'd throw a fit.
I wouldn't want Smith either. That's why, I don't know. I've not seen really enough from Drew Lock that makes me say he's better than Baker Mayfield. So, more injury prone, even then that's saying something with Baker Mayfield, being honest with you. And I think Baker's got a better arm.
He would fit that locker room, though. He would fit the Seahawks locker room for what they want to do. They want to go back to where they were, which is, a bunch of dogs.
Right.
And he's a dog.
Even when Seattle won a Super Bowl back in 2012, Wilson did what he needed to. It wasn't hero ball. They could lean on Marshawn Lynch. They just needed to operate a good enough offense, and they had the Legion of Boom. So, thing is, you got to get that I think really for Seattle, you got to get that defense rebuilt,
which I can,
and then take and then get those weapons and just kind of run Cleveland's offense. Make sure Mayfield doesn't have to play hero ball. Make sure he just does what's needed when asked to do it. That's why I'm saying, like, I would not, if you can get him for a good price, sure. But again, like, I know, like, I don't know. Malik Willis, to me, it just makes sense. You even save cash. You don't have to give away picks for that unless you feel like you have to trade up. But I don't even think you got to trade up.
I don't think so either. But part of me says, all right, let's see what you got in this. Part of me is like, okay, Malik Willis, Drew Lock, or Baker Mayfield, who are you taking? Who are you taking? Realistically, who are you going to take?
So you're saying Lock, Willis, and Mayfield?
Lock, Willis, or Mayfield. Who would you start? Because they got a relatively easy schedule. Seattle does, assuming, they play the NFC South. They play the AFC West. That's the only tough part. Is the AFC West.
I mean, if you want an NFL starter right away, you go with Mayfield.
Yeah.
Everyone does question with Willis the body of work. I mean, he went to Liberty, which credit Liberty is an up and coming program, but that doesn't mean that they're playing the same talent. He's got the intangibles, but they are more raw.
That's my issue
for that. Yeah. Will he adjust? Like that's the thing with drafting. You always, drafting is not an exact science.
No.
Mayfield, you know what you're going to get with him. Thing is, can you keep him healthy, and can you
keep him happy too?
Well, I mean, happy is more just I think happy is more just the fact that he's not taking any more criticism from the Cleveland crowd. That's all it is there.
Yeah,
that's just on him. Like that's exactly why he did that. People kept ragging on him. He didn't handle. He was too hot. It's too hot in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So. I would think Seattle's going to be just as critical on him, though. So that's your problem. But
they're going to be ruthless. Seahawks fans are going to be fucking ruthless.
I mean, otherwise you can take another year and you can go with Drew Lock, but to me that's just wasting another year for Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, even Chris Carson if he can stay healthy. So
yeah.
Just saying, I would not, if you want to try to get back to relevance, trade or take a gamble, I think. Otherwise, blow it up. You can do that too.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely feeling like they're very much on that verge. Like this might be the year they say, all right, we realize where we're at. We need to blow it up.
I don't blame you at all. Oh boy. I couldn't say I didn't see this coming. I did. And I did want this to happen, unfortunately. Me and my big fucking mouth.
It happens to every team, though. Like, you can't always be consistent. I know that there's only very few that seldomly get to continue what they're doing. I mean, Pittsburgh kind of does every year. Green Bay, to an extent, does every year.
The Patriots.
I'll even admit the Patriots, like last year, getting that wild card spot. They got blown up by the Bills, but that doesn't mean that it was, it doesn't mean that was a failure. They got in. So
I can now officially say I can now fully get my Seahawks tattoo without feeling complete and total shame and douchebaggery. I mean, they got the Islanders on one bicep. I'm getting the Seahawks the other bicep.
Yep.
So I can actually pull it off and be like, hey, guys, I'm not a complete and total dickweed because of this.
There you go.
It helps. Oh, Zach, get some sleep, please.
Oh, I will. Trust me, I'm fine.
Please do.
I'll get my sleep.
Thank you guys for joining us for episode 139 of Time to BS. Oh, man. Thanks to Belly's Up Sports Gridiron Gallery Podcast, Zach Common. Thank you so much for joining us, my man.
No problem. Anytime.
This is Daniel Smooth signing off, and we'll see you guys around.